The young woman was passing from the shores of a rebellious day to her ruined world. It was the most beautiful day after the nightmare she had been living for weeks, and she did not want it to pass. She had met a young man. They were in harmony as if they had known each other for years. They traveled in the realms of unknown notes and composed songs that touched their souls, danced despite the hard roofs of the stray rains. As the night ended, they hugged for the last time in a place far from the city. The young man said he would wait for her in the same place the next day. Esma was silent because she knew he would not be there. Weeks ago he woke up on the brink of a great disaster. All he saw was a door that managed to survive on the rubble, a few buildings living in the middle of the water. When he passed through the door, his life changed completely. He lived many lives in a different body, and at the end of each night these lives ended. This time he was resisting. He was fighting as a lost traveler in the vortex of love with a sad farewell. He didn't want to sleep, alone with despair. In the arms of his crazy, strange loneliness, he hugged the darkness of the night. She fought with all her might, but that was it. He put his head on his pillow and let it get wet with tears, while her pillow was getting wet. The sad traces of her memories were leaving wounds in her heart. In her dreams, she entered a world full of blue-pink roses covered in the colors of emotions, and lost in her garden. When she woke up, it was a completely different life. It was a difficult game to pass. Perhaps it was a novel woven with the twists of fate, but still, this novel had an ending and a new story was written for him every time he woke up. She thought of that man in despair. He was still hugging her in a room full of roses. One touch was enough. He woke up to his fears. He suffered under the bondage of tears. He could not think of this new day he would face. The burden on his shoulders was too heavy. He knew he could no longer go on like this. This new body was weak, or he could not accept what was happening. The sight he encountered in the kitchen shattered his already shattered world even more. The letter left behind by the young man whose name she could not even ask was shattered. They wrote letters to each other before saying goodbye. She didn't dare look at the man who changed as time dwindled, even when they parted. When he picked up some of the shredded pieces of paper, he experienced a dimensional disintegration. It was a few minutes before his uncle and father had clashed with each other. He had witnessed their death once again. He had hugged his brother at that difficult moment. Reliving those moments made him think, was the nightmare he had been living for weeks over? Just when he thought it was all over, he found himself somewhere else again. It looked like the room she had imagined with that man. She took a single step and heard an echo. This echo broke down all the walls. It was another dimension of where she had started. Spaxzer began to play a thin, elegant melody. Perhaps it was the complex melody of everything. Its timbre was a tone he could not even imagine. Or was everything he was experiencing a dream? And the night ended for the last time. He felt something peaceful in the flower garden. He would no longer exist and wake up to a new life. He would take his place among the flowers and blend with them forever.